The MCU, also known as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and DCEU, also known as the Detective Comics Extended Universe, are by far the most popular superhero universes, representing their comic book characters on the big screens. Literally everyone who likes superhero movies obviously knows these names for sure. Now, what if I told you that there's a possibility of a crossover between the MCU and the DCEU? Hello everyone, and welcome to Super Duo. In this video, I'm going to review the actual possibility of an MCU and DCEU crossover, and I'm talking about this after collecting a lot of solid data. So, is it really possible? First of all, let's discuss the most recent Easter eggs and references that got me thinking about this. I hope most of you have already seen the MCU's Eternals movie. If not, spoilers ahead. In Eternals, Gilgamesh refers to Alfred from Batman when Karan Patel says he is Kingo's valet.
Oh, valet, like Alfred in Batman.
Also, in another scene, we see Phastos' kid calling Icarus Superman.
He is Superman. I saw him on TV. You were with the cape and you were shooting laser beams out of your eyes.
Followed by Phastos calling him Clark Kent.
Can I call you Clark? Is that what you go by now? Because
it's not just MCU referring to DC characters. In the recent trailer of the upcoming animated movie from DC, DC League of Super Pets, Superman calls himself an Iron Man.
They should call me Iron Man.
So is that it? The whole list of references?
Is that it? Is it over?
No. These are just the most recent references we got from both universes, but there's a lot more history involved. So why would anyone think about a crossover now? DCEU and MCU have been everyone's favorite for a very long time, and since they are both very popular, often people start sharing their opinions, and this question has been asked for a long time, as both the fandoms wanted to see the best superheroes fight together, and even prove which one of them is the best. But this old question faded with time, as all of us understood that there was no possibility of this happening anytime soon. But in November 2019, a story by James Gunn made everyone think about this again. James Gunn is the director of the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, an MCU movie, and is also the director of Suicide Squad from DCEU. The opinion of a director who worked in both fandoms isn't something that can be neglected for superfans like you and me. He said, "In the past, I would have said no way, but today, I think anything is possible." Most people felt excited after seeing this story from James Gunn. It also led to a few controversies among some fans. People who are hopeful on crossover possibilities felt that crossovers were made in comics years ago and could be made into movies too. But the other group felt movies and comics are different things. Movies involve actors, finances, and agreements, which is not that problematic in comics. Some mentioned that it took Marvel a long time to get Hulk back, and then the cameo of Spider-Man initially in Civil War. We all know about the disputes between Sony and Disney on having Spider-Man in the MCU, and the financial split-up they share. So if it's this hard to merge or take a single character from Sony to Marvel, it's not an easy task to do a crossover between two cinematic universes, which includes several characters. If the crossover is possible, why isn't it done already? Back then, when all these discussions started, both Marvel and DC were in the growing phase, but now they have grown significantly bigger. So, what requirements do we have for this to be possible? The Marvel and DC production companies should come to a financial conclusion. The directors, producers, the cast, and all main stakeholders of these franchises should get along. On November 11, 2018, when Stan Lee, the godfather of the Marvel Comics, passed away, this is what DC tweeted out. And also Geoff Johns, one of DC's top writers, wrote a tweet honoring Stan Lee. Kevin Feige and Geoff Johns are good friends. The head of Marvel and DC's top writers are friends. Which brings us to the cast, i.e. actors, who plays roles of characters. The actors from DC and Marvel have very good friendships instead of rivalries. MCU's Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, went in disguise to take adorable photos with Aquaman's Jason Momoa at New York Comic Con. Jason Momoa, the actor playing Aquaman, posed with Mark Ruffalo, the actor playing the Hulk. In fact, Jason Momoa is imitating the Hulk in this photo. And one time, Chris Evans caught Henry Cavill eating a cookie and started to crack up. They are so friendly with each other, they presented an award together and clicked pictures together. Or even better, here's Chris Hemsworth and Gal Gadot. It's clear that the cast and crew are good with each other. Although it's pretty much known that Marvel and DC did take shots at each other back in the day, but the rivalry has been very tame. They don't hate each other, so if everything with the crew and cast is fine, what stops them from making a huge crossover movie? It's about fans and fandom wars. Take an example. Thor of Marvel versus Wonder Woman of DC. If Thor wins, MCU fans will be overjoyed, but DC fans will be angry. And if Wonder Woman wins, the reaction would be vice versa. If we say they're equal, the fans aren't going to like that either. And for one person to win, the other person has to lose, which will create fandom wars. Another major factor is the finance distribution, as it can be a time-taking discussion and both companies might want to have the bigger share. All this discussion is why such a crossover hasn't been made so far. But let's imagine the finance distribution is all discussed and agreed. Then what could be the plot of the movie? In comics, we've had many Marvel and DC crossovers. The first crossover is Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man.
This is rare. Spider-Man and Superman in the room together.
Yes, yeah.
First time we've been in a room together, though, is it?
No, actually.
In this crossover comic, Superman and Spider-Man get tricked and are made to fight against each other. But when they talk and realize what happened, they fight together against the villains. We even got a sequel to this comic, which is Superman and Spider-Man. In this comic, they both face Dr. Doom. We also got to see Hulk and Wonder Woman in it. There are many more comic crossovers like Batman vs. the Incredible Hulk, Batman and Captain America, Batman and Spider-Man, the Uncanny X-Men and the Teen Titans. The Justice League of America with Avengers was the last crossover in comics. In this comic, the Justice League and Avengers team up to save the world. If I start talking about all these comics one by one, that in itself would be long enough for a separate video. So if you want to know more about those crossovers in detail, let me know in the comments below. So what is the possible plot for a movie if it is ever made? I think there are two possibilities. One, all heroes get together against a common villain, just like we saw in Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and Justice League. If it's a common villain, everyone's happy. 2. Superheroes get divided into two teams, similar to what we saw in Captain America Civil War and Batman vs. Superman, which again provides us two options to make the plot memorable and avoid fandom wars as well. Rather than creating a team of DC versus Marvel characters, these two teams can be divided into a mixture of DC and Marvel characters. So even if one team loses, it's not the loss of Marvel or DC. Also, this may not raise much fan wars, but split up the audience between heroes, just like we saw after Captain America Civil War, where fans were divided into Team Iron Man and Team Captain America, which makes this a win-win situation. I hope we get to see a crossover where no one gets offended, and if a crossover is ever made, it would really be an amazing movie to watch. What do you guys think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, show your love by clicking the like button, as it motivates us to keep grinding. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.